Welcome back, realvacantland.com. This is Luke Smith. I've got another video for you. This one, I made a video earlier today. I called it Build Bank Here Land. And I wanted to point out this property again, research it a little bit differently. There's a Big Five Sporting Goods over there, over my shoulder. The other one in this parking lot is Petco or PetSmart or Pets, whatever. I think it's Petco, Pet Supplies. And so the guy that built this out built numerous of these. He did like, I don't know, 20 of these Big Fives, or 15 or 20 of them or something. And he'd get different stores to fill out his parking lot, and he would do this one and that one and this one and that one. He'd buy a chunk of land, break it up, sell it to each one of them, and move on. And he didn't sell them all. He ended up with a couple. And he got one of my letters that said, "Hey, I'll buy your land. I want to buy your land. I want to buy your land." And he said, "Oh, sure, I'm done. Like, get rid of it." So, so we bought the properties that he had left over after doing all these Big Five and Petcos and other things. So they're all next to Big Five Sporting Goods. We sold the others. We got this one. Nobody bought this one. I don't think it was presented very well. So I'm trying to show it off and see who's the right person to take off with it. So big road, lots of traffic, parking lot, flat building pad, all ready to go. 6,500 square foot in the engineering, surveying, and stuff of up to a building you could build here. I mean, you could probably redo the engineering, do something more if you wanted, but there's a stream in the back, and there's wetlands, and there's different property boundaries and the road, and basically with the constraints that are there, 6,500 square foot is what it looks like you could do. Okay. So let's jump into the website. So we're on realvacantland.com, asking $284,500 for this property. It's Luke Smith, phone number. If you want to call me, ask questions about this thing, I'll try to answer everything I can. I might know who to ask or hire or whatever to figure it out. I just updated the map on this thing. It's at the end of the cul-de-sac. You don't have to build a driveway or anything. Let's see. I think Street View works here. Yeah, we'll jump into Street View. And so this is the property over here. So this is a Big Five, and you don't have to build a driveway. You just go right through Big Five, just like this car in front of us here is doing. And then you drive and you use the same parking lot the Big Five's using, and your building pad's over here. And you want it over here because it's the other side of Big Five is facing the big road. So Big Five facing the big road. This is the back side of Big Five. The other side's facing the road. This is the part you drive up to. You'd come in this way. There's Petco. So there's Petco on the other side. So we got Petco on one side and Big Five, or one side of the parking lot, Big Five, and then us. Petco, Big Five, and then us. There's fire hydrants, there's city water, there's telephone, there's sewer, there's electricity going down this road to the property. Underground utilities, including electricity is underground here too. So you can see underground electricity. So we get out to the corner across the street to bank building. I think that is the number one most built used of that size building pad next to Big Five is different bank buildings. This is whatever local community bank, but there's always more banks, right? There's always banks, different banks competing with each other, financial services of all kinds. So I think someone's willing to take that up. Here's our sign out here. It's Petco is at the corner. Petco, Big Five. It's called Twin Creek Plaza. Twin Creek Plaza. So that's where we're at. There's a couple creeks in the back. That's what I was saying. That's why you can't go build out the whole land. So 6,500 square foot. Here's the big road. Here's the intersection. Maybe some bush could get cut so you can see the sign better. But you go down the road and you can see in there and you can see the shopping centers. This other side of the street, this road, there's multiple commercial places up and down the road in both directions. Home Depot is up the road this way. Okay. So there's the layout. Let's blow out, we'll show where we're at in the world. I forgot that part. If I get my maps to work. Okay, so we're on realvacantland.com. This is Walla Walla. This is Washington. And I wanted to show this because the next slide I'm going to jump into, it matters. So here's the state of Washington. This mountains, that side of the state, the prices are different. Mountains, this side of the state, it's a different culture. It's a different pricing. It's different pricing. It's different business, right? Over there, it's more concentrated. Here, it's more spread out. Okay, so let's jump out of that and let's go to the next slide. This is Crexi, which I play with a lot. This is CREXI. This is the name of the website, and they've got a lot of great data, all kinds of really awesome data. I am in the comp section of Crexi, and you got to pay money to get in here and stuff. And Crexi, if you get mad at me for publishing, I'm not really publishing this, I'm advertising you, so please don't get mad at me for showing this data. This is eastern side of Washington. You got hills over there, this side. So I got the map focused in on the eastern half of Washington. And so what happens when you focus the map in on eastern side of Washington, these data lines get like just the ones that are on the eastern side of Washington. I got my search down to Washington. I got it retail, so just retail locations, and I got it I think it's 4,000 square foot buildings to 7,000 square foot buildings. Our building pad is 6,500 square foot, but I'm looking for something kind of like it that you'd want to put there. And so if you go along with my logic, and then I got all kinds of data. You can get all kinds of data on these comps. It's the beauty of using this software. Is I got the property sizes, the dollars a square foot, not what these things sold for. Property types, what the heck they are, the address, the city, you can add all kinds of things. You can see who bought it, you can see who sold it, you get the APN numbers of it, not like realtor sites where they're trying to hide it from you. You get the actual APN numbers, so you can dive into data and go research these things at the county and everything. Okay, so I got this sorted from date sold. The last ones that sold in this side of Washington that are built, they're buildings, not land. This is buildings, because land doesn't do as many trades and it's harder to comp. So we're looking at buildings. So buildings on this side of Washington that are traded. So this, I think, will give us an idea of what could be built there, what other people are selling, what they're selling, and what they're selling for. And if we know what they're selling and what they're selling for, we get an idea of what we could build. So some of these will probably be cheap, and it's like, you don't want to build that. Some of them might have some use that's not allowed on the property, like auto center, tires or something. It's got to be retail, not auto related maintenance. It's got to be like, office retail. Okay. So the September 15th was pretty recent. That's $3.1 million. And so we can click on these and we can start looking them up. This is what I like to do. I like to dig into them and start figuring them out. So we have 3 different APNs, 3 different assessor parcel numbers in this trade that made up the trade. It's square footage. The square footage over here, it's not showing so well on the screen. You're just gonna have to trust me. I don't know how to change it in fly. But square footage, it's showing just off the screen. It's 6,136. It's built in 1998, renovated in 1999. It's a convenience store is what they're calling it. Let's see if we can drop into Street View and see what it is. Tacos, old taco restaurant. Casa de Oro. Well, maybe it was this side of the street. So they paid $3.188 million, and this convenience store. So I think it's this gas station, this whole complex. They're fixing cars and stuff. So that's not going to be a good comp. We're going to have lots of these that aren't good ones. We're going to want to find a good one. That's where you might just have to bear with me. So if you get bored, feel free to, fast forward or whatever. But this is part of real estate. This is like real estate 101. Okay. 3.1 million. This is one of the same 3.1. Okay. 2.9 million dollars. 5,100 square feet. 2 buildings. This is an auto shop. This is an auto fixing place. We can't build that on this particular property. $300,000. $325,000. It's got a building that's like not much more expensive than us and a building. What the heck is that? This is just like some metal building. This is just a 1970s era auto shop metal building. That's not aspiring to build here. $1.5 million. This is August. This is just another school bus repair or something. Auto shop. They're fixing trucks and school buses. Metal building. Cheap metal building. Not that metal building's wrong, but you can't build that on this property. We want some inspiring ones. Okay, $2.6 million. 5,400 square foot building. It's almost as big as what we're talking about. This looks like, what the heck? Fast food drive-through. This is part of a mobile home park. Like they're putting us in a mobile home park. This is bad data. $1.5 million, 4,800. Is this the same one? They don't have much of any. It's photography, travel, personal service. This is like a strip mall, little low rent strip mall. 3.6 million, 6,000 square foot. Looks like it was just built. You know, these pictures are too old. It's not showing it. Let's see if Street View does it. Or year renovated, 1990. It wasn't just built. M2, this is manufacturing storefront. Personal services, photography, travel. This is a shopping center. 3.3 million. Storefront, 2004 renovation, 7,000 square foot, 12 units. Let's see. This is a shopping center. This thing. T-Mobile. Oh, nails. Teach the kids stuff kind of place. This is your classic strip mall. 3.3 million. 7,000 square foot. Long and skinny. $17 million. What the heck is that? It's gonna be bad data. 4,966 square feet. Starbucks, Verizon, Panda Express. This is going to be multiple APN sale as part of a multiple. So the price is out to lunch because they bought multiple locations. So a lot of these are, none of these are brand new buildings. I was hoping we could find like a brand new building. Let's see if we can find the year built. Let's just add something here. Yeah, they don't have year built as part of the sortable stuff. So much for bragging about Crexy. Let's try sold price high to low, because I got it down to the last 2 years. I'm sorting just the trades in the last 2 years. Let's see what the most valuable stuff. Well, we had that Starbucks Verizon Center that was part of multiple. Here's $9 million, probably multiple properties, multiple APNs. This is like some farming or I don't know. $5 million. 6,200 square feet. This is auto repair next to a car dealership. I've seen this one before. Here's Spokane, 3.3 million. Storefront, we just looked at this one. 3.1 million. Multiple APNs. This is a little store. Oh, this is the gas station one. $2.9 million. I'm trying to look for some good examples of what somebody might sell here if they built it and sold it. We've seen this one before. 2.6 million. Okay, Luke, where are you going with this, right? Wow, we keep pulling up ones that we've seen before. Okay, Western Washington, what the heck are you selling? What does somebody want to build? More shopping centers. Okay, it goes on and on and on. 1.5 million. Let's see what happens. These things start getting older and older. It's a shopping center. This is insurance, Vietnamese food, Boost Mobile, and tattoo parlor. 6,000 square foot shopping center. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you could put one of these buildings in there, and four units. This one looks like it's got a new face on it. This one was renovated in 2003. I'm not sure when it was built. Oh, it was built in 2003. So this one was built in 2003, and they rented out to these things, and there you go. They're talking about how much rent you get out of this. You get they sold it for $243 a square foot. Modular building. It's really cheap built. Okay, so looking at shopping center kinds of building prices in the West Coast, like from San Diego, Las Vegas, Seattle, and everything in between, these shopping centers are doing $313 a square foot on average that people are building these things for. Some slide up to $378, but average is like $313. If it was fast food like this taco whatever over here, they're getting up to like maybe $200 a square foot, sometimes $175 a square foot, and some of those kinds of locations might fit on our property too. So if we built this shopping center at 6,050 square foot with those kinds of average building numbers, 6,050 square foot times the average cost 313 equals $1.8 million. That doesn't make sense. $1.8 million in today's market to build one of these things, and this one just sold for 1.5. It's cheaper to buy them than to build them. So that doesn't make sense. So if we go back and we look at the bigger dollar stuff, I mean, a lot of the shops that I was finding are a lot higher rent. That was low rent kinds of things that go in the shop, and the ones that are being used, not trading so much, are like bank buildings. And a lot of these bank buildings, as the bank buildings are trading, they're trading in the threes. You know, you can build a bank building and sell it in the 3 millions. And if we do that same kind of math, it was like, okay, you start building it for, $2 million. Let's round it off. Let's say you build a little bit bigger, build a 6,500 square foot bank building, $2 million kind of price tag. Average building prices that I'm looking up online, industry averages, $2 million to build a bank building. The previous video today, I said, what could it cost? $1 million? I didn't really know. I looked it up. I researched it since then. So now with like industry averages, it looks like it's $2 million to build one of those bank buildings. And we've got the land. We've got the land over here. We've got it up for sale for $285,000 basically. So 2.25, you could still mark it up $1 million and rent it out to a local bank, and the art would be getting which bank would go in there. But you could go to some of these leasing agents. You could find one of the leasing agents that works in the area, and you could pitch them on it and say, this is I think a good spot for a bank building. And what would it take to get a bank to move in here? Do you know any banks that want to open a location? And this would be a location. And you go work all the local banks or something like them, and get a lease. And you offer the leasing agent usually a bunch of the first rent, and you offer the people to move in like nice easy move in, like you're making signs and you're putting furniture in there and all that kind of, gussy the place up and get it set up for them, and get them to move in, get them to sign a long lease or a long rental period, right? And then you've got with that long lease, you could use that to go get financing to build the property out. You could buy the property, build it. You can do all that if you line up somebody that wants to use this property, like a banker, like this one that's down the street. So like these, let me jump into it. There's one that's right down, well, let me get lost in my maps. Well, that's going to be too generic. Okay, let's start over. Okay, let me just explain it instead of trying to get there in the map. So there's a bank that's right down the street. And in my neighborhood, there's half dozen different banks around the area. So if there's one bank down the street, it's probably a good place for another bank. Bank 2, 3, 4, 5 of different brands competing with each other, trying to get people's business for cars and homes and whatever else the banks are trying to get money out of people for. And that's how they grow. They set up these locations and they start bringing in clients, and they do all kinds of stuff to bring in clients. Eventually they get to a big enough management of assets that the bigger banks come buy them out. And then you got a bigger bank that's one of your renters. So you could hire one of these leasing agents. I've got books on that kind of strategy. I mean, I talked to some of these agents, but you just find one that's working the area, and they go to town. They find a client, and you could piece it with this property. So $2 million build, $250,000 roughly property, and $3.25 million sale, maybe $3.5, $4 million. And the sale would be after you got the lease of somebody to go use this thing as a bank or whatever you might figure out. But I think a bank would be a good one. And there's $1 million spread. You have somebody else, you contract it, the build out, you can get financing from the banks to build these things. And once it's built and that lease is there, or all the plans are put together and the contracts are put together, you can sell it on the market. And these bank buildings in today's market are trading at 6 cap kinds of numbers. I look at all the data across the whole state, across the whole West Coast, and they're like a 6 cap, maybe a 6.5, maybe a 5.5, maybe a 4.5 as you get into bigger Bank of America kinds of banks over Podunk Country Bank of this little town. Those might be 6.5, but you get the idea. That pricing metric just rails on it. So you figure out how much you can rent it to them for, and sign the lease, build the thing, put them in there, sell the building to big insurance companies or investor types that like to buy them and collect the rent for the rest of forever. And you can keep the spread. I think there might be $1 million spread there if you pull it off right. If you build a shopping center for people to do their fingernails and their hair and that kind of stuff, the numbers don't work in today's market. It just doesn't pay enough to go build more of those. You don't see anybody building them. So that's my synopsis of this property. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.